Hey, what's going on, guys? We've got a follow-up to the whole Etheria restart situation. If you don't know, I posted a video yesterday talking about the fact that dupes are active in RTA, when it was kind of the general consensus that that wasn't the case. We kind of don't know where this started, but it just seemed to be the statement that was being made. It was believed throughout the community, through CCs, through to viewers, through to people in the Discord, Reddit, wherever you looked. This seemed to be a statement that was being parroted. It was even being parroted by moderators within the actual official Discord as well, and I believe on the wiki for the game also. So this idea that it's just come out of nowhere is definitely not a thing. I saw comments on my own video saying, how did people believe this? When, well, there's a reason why people believed it, because it was being spoken about a lot within the game's official Discord and still wasn't mentioned. But we've got some updates on that, or not so much that, but changes to the PT within the game. It doesn't look like there's going to be any changes to the dupe situation, which, before we get into everything else, I do just want to say, the devs didn't lie about this, but I do think there was some problems with communication between the developers and the community and the people in between, the community managers, the moderators, the marketing side of things with the developers. And I will say as well, it was a little bit unfortunate that the devs decided to make an official announcement regarding the dupe situation on the final day of a paid beta. I've just got to get that out there. Now, I'm not accusing them of anything. I just think that's a little bit stinky, right? It's a shame that they didn't decide to make that announcement a little bit earlier. I can't see how they couldn't have seen all of these statements. Now, maybe they didn't, but it just seems a little bit unlikely to me that they didn't see it prior to the final day. But anyway, let's get into the actual conversation here regarding the dupes. Just let me say something before we do as well. Regarding the dupes, I think there's a way, in my opinion, although we've got some positive movements here, I still think the dupes does cause a bit of a problem, right? And I think there's ways to go about maybe negating it or reducing it. We have the Monday to Friday rank system, right? I think that, in my opinion, should be straight up no dupes active. That's the rank part of the game. Everybody can challenge for the ranks. And then at the weekend, you have the little tournament mode, right? Where I think, okay, let's have dupes active there. And that way then, you know, if you decide to jump into the Lions, then you can hop in and maybe get bodied by some Giga Whales out there. Because that way then, I think if you have two separate player bases, I was talking with Ethan actually about this yesterday, and I do believe that, you know, having two separate player bases all of the time will kind of reduce the amount of people in each pool and potentially increase matchmaking. There's a reason why Call of Duty stopped map packs back in the day, because that's what happened. You had increasingly smaller and smaller player bases for each different playlist, and I don't think that's ever a good thing for a PvP game. But maybe having the weekend for the dupes and the ranked season for the non-dupes, and then to get that tournament feel, maybe at the end of each season there's like a non-dupe ranked tournament, because the tournament is really fun. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, the whole dupe situation is a little bit unfortunate, but let's go on and have a look at this announcement from the developers here. They did say in the last post that they would put out another announcement and kind of clarify some issues that people have been worried about then. So let's have a little look at this. This is directly in the Discord for Etheria Restart, and it says, Etheria Restart, final test conclusion and pre-launch updates. Dear Hyperlinkers, first and foremost, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to everyone who participated in the final test. The final test concluded successfully on May 19th with over 200,000 hyperlinkers participating. Content creators produced thousands of Etheria Restart videos on platforms like YouTube, and more than 20,000 hyperlinkers joined our official Discord community, providing valuable feedback and suggestions. The entire team is working diligently on preparations for the official launch. We hope all hyperlinkers will enjoy a delightful gaming experience when Etheria Restart officially launches. Before the official launch, we aim to offer more benefits to free-to-play players, which is good. To this end, we will implement the following adjustments in the upcoming versions. Again, this is a game that doesn't look like it's going to be massive in CN. I'd love to know how JP looks at this game, because I think this game is going to rely quite a bit on the EN global audience, and EN and global definitely would like PvP to probably be less dupe orientated, and without CN, the game's going to rely on global a little bit more. So I do think that's still an important factor, right? But let's get into this. Reduce the pity threshold for targeted summon pools from 100 pulls to 80 pulls, including constant disorder, light and dark animus units, making it easier for players to acquire featured animuses. This is great, right? This is great. That's like a 20% decrease in the amount of pulls you're going to need, which is pretty freaking seismic in any gacha game, really. That is massive, right? Now, of course, with this being PvP and the dupe situation, still doesn't remove from that. But if you were talking any other gacha game, that is huge, in my opinion. So this is a dub. This is a dub. It's a move in the right direction, right? But I still think the dupe situation is going to be a problem. But the fact that you're going to be able to get more now, you are going to be able to get more dupes potentially with the reduction in pity. It's going to make it easier for free-to-play players to actually potentially get there. You're just going to be behind, basically, which is still a problem. Right? Add anima exchange tokens to the Summit Arena RTA Arena shop. Players. Etheria Arena shop, players can use Summit Arena RTA shop tokens to redeem anima, enabling free-to-play players to obtain more, which is good, right? This is going to allow you to get access again, as I say, to potentially more dupes as a free-to-play player. This is definitely good, right? Again, dupes are important in this game, although they say they're not going to be as impactful as you might think in something like a Hoyo game or something like Wuthering Waves. It's still going to be a factor, right? And this idea that I think you're going to be able to counterplay a whale with, good counters. We've got to stop this idea that just because somebody spends a lot of money on the game, that they somehow stop having brain cells. There's lots of people who spend money on gacha games who are just as good, if not better, than some of the free-to-play players, right? You know, it'd work if all whales were just dumb whales. They're not, right? So we have to take that into account. They're going to be doing exactly the same thing with just better units as well, right? During the Growth Boost event, players who reach level 30 will also receive anima exchange tokens as a reward. Awesome to get as well. These are really good changes, I'm not going to lie. Additionally, we'd like to address 2 key areas of feedback received during this test. Regarding the gender ratio of game characters, honestly, don't care about this. As long as a character's cool, I don't care whether male or female, right? You know, it just doesn't matter to me. Especially in a game like this. Really, meta's more important than usual for a gacha game. I'm all about waifus in gacha games, and don't get me wrong, there's some good looking waifus in this game, but one of my favorite units, Kraken, dude's awesome, right? So I just don't care about gender of characters in a game, if I'm honest. I really couldn't give a damn. In the world of Etheria, new characters will be introduced in the future, including both male and female roles. We aim to create as many recognizable and uniquely charming characters as possible. I will say though, I do really like the character design in this game. They're really nice, you know. When I think of the characters in Etheria Restart, they really remind me of Aether Gazer characters. That's kind of like what I look at them. They're akin to those sort of characters. Really well designed, really nice models. And yeah, I've enjoyed all of the characters apart from obviously the crap like 2-3 star whatever they are characters, should I say. Yeah, they're kind of lame. But yeah, really, the characters are really good looking in this game. I do like them, but I couldn't give a damn what gender they are, if I'm honest. I don't care. As long as they look cool and they're actually useful, that's all that matters to me. Regarding whether anima is effective in Summit Arena RTA, we sincerely apologize for not promptly identifying and clarifying this misconception. Anima is effective across all current gameplay modes in Etheria Restart. We've also designed multiple ways to acquire anima exchange tokens moving forward. We will continue to monitor and optimize the gaming experience related to anima. So again, this is a statement of, they put it at the end, that dupes are staying, right? Dupes are staying. Which, again, as I say, I don't think there's any way to get around it, that it's a shame, right, for multiplayer. I get it, though. I understand it. It's a gacha game at the end of the day. But it would be nice if this game was genuinely trying to slot into a PvP, competitive PvP part that wasn't catering to the whales. And I genuinely do think that people in this game, whale or not, would be fine with dupes not being active in this game, honestly. Now, I know there's probably going to be that small contingent that just want to wail on people all the time and just want to slap around new, free-to-play players. But I think in terms of enjoyment, I think a robust, large, varied player base in this game is better for everybody, whether you've spent on the game or not, right? And as I say, having separate modes for dupe PvP and non-dupe PvP without having them like literally next to each other to dilute the player pool would be a good idea to have, as I say, the weekend matches to be duped matches. And and have little things that are rewards there for the people who have spent a little bit of money in the game, right? You know, people who spend do like to get rewards, and I think that's fair. And I think having it on the weekend like that, when the Monday to Friday rank mode is turned off, would be a good way to do it, because not only are you going to be diluting the pool of players when you've got them running next to each other, parallel to each other, you've got to take into account, well, when do you move over into the dupe pool? Is it when you've got one dupe on one of your characters in your team that you use? Because that's going to create a system then where you've got a dupe on a character that you're putting in your team, right? So now you're in with people who've got every single member of their team duped to the max. Now, okay, that's a problem in itself, isn't it? And then you're going to have a situation where people are going to get dupes and not want to activate the dupes because they don't want to be thrust into that position just yet. And they want to use the particular character that they got the dupe for because it's a character that they really like. So I think having that parallel double pool of players, dupes and non-dupes, wouldn't work. But again, having the Monday to Friday ranked, totally free-to-play mode would work. And then, obviously, having the weekend with the dupes. Because at the end of the day, even in the normal ranked, of course, Wales are going to have a little bit more of an advantage. Not on the dupe side of things, but they're going to have a little bit more of a robust roster, aren't they? They're going to have access to potentially more characters than the free-to-play players. And I think that way then as well, it wouldn't have needed them to lean into maybe reducing the pity on the banner side of things. So, yeah, again, this is a real positive move, right? Reduction in pity in any gacha game is always a positive move. I don't care how you paint it, right? It's always a positive move. But again, the dupe situation for multiplayer, I'm not a big fan of. Of course, let's see when the game launches, when they've tweaked some things in exactly how impactful it's going to be, because that is going to be the key, right? And how fast characters come out and how quick the meta advances. Because I said they want a meta to keep changing, which is good, but then we don't want a meta to just be chasing the new units all the time, do we? So again, that's going to be a massive factor. But this is good news. There's no way to say that this isn't good news. This is good news. But again, I do think it's going to be something that we're going to have to wait and see, right? This is going to be one of those games that 2 to 3 months after launch, we're going to really see where the game's going, right? As free-to-play players, are you going to be able to hang with people who are spending? You know, if somebody's got a max pop character, will you be able to hold your own with them, or you're just going to be getting clapped? And will Wales really dominate the entire market? I think it's safe to say probably. I think it's safe to say probably. It'd be interesting as well what happens when it comes to their esports side of things, because they've mentioned that they kind of want to have like broadcast tournaments and stuff, I believe. Will they have dupes active in that, you know? Because are you going to have CSGO type tournaments where somebody might not have maximum dupes, or would people have access to full accounts? Because that'd be an interesting thing then, wouldn't it? If they don't want to potentially affect the quality of tournaments like that, because, well, it's not going to be fair if you've got the 2 best players in the world who don't have equal accounts, and that not being reflected in the wider player base for all of us normies, right? So I do think dupes are still a bit of a problem. It's a shame. I do really like this game, okay? I do really like this game. We'll just have to see how things go, that's for sure. But again, I do think it was a little bit unfortunate the developers decided to leave it till the last day of a paid beta to announce that, oh, you know, this thing that you all believe, it's kind of not true. Again, like I said, I've had people commenting on my video saying, how could people believe this? I think it was pretty easy to believe this, right? Because, you know, the massive amounts of the community were saying it, moderators, the wiki, people in the Discord were having conversations about it, and the devs surely had to have seen all this going down, but didn't mention it till the last day of the beta. So I don't blame anybody in the community for believing this, right? I believed it. I parroted it myself. I even apologized in the previous video for saying the same thing. So I'm glad that it's been clarified now. I'm glad that everybody knows what the deal is going forward. We'll just have to see what happens on launch day. But again, this is a move in the right direction. I do like the fact that they're at least starting to acknowledge this and speak about things. But I would like a little bit more clarity on the whole dupe situation, right? And I do believe the weekend mode being the dupe mode would be the way to go. Personally, I think it's the best of both worlds, and honestly, and that way it really is a fun PvP, free-to-play, friendly experience throughout the week. But I'd love to know what you guys think. What do you think about having the weekend as the dupe tournament and the weekdays being for everybody with no dupes? And what do you think about the whole situation altogether? And obviously, it's got to be a good thing, right? The pity going down. I can't see how you can't say that's not a good thing. But I'd love to know what you think in the comment section, guys. If you found this video informative, give it a like. If you haven't already, guys, subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next one. Ciao.